All right, what's up, everybody? My name is Richard Wilcox, and I'm here with today Jordan Binder, who is the owner and CEO of BinderBits.com, who I've been honored to write with for a little over a year now. How's it going, Jordan?
What up? Hey, it's good to see you, and I am really excited about what we're going to be talking about.
Yeah, what we're talking about, it's a big deal, man. So after, I think, probably almost 2 years now of rumors and leaks and speculation, Nintendo finally gives us a look at the NX, which is now officially called the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And so they released a little 2-minute video, a 3-minute trailer of the Switch. And, we get a look at, what's been rumored for a long time of it being like a hybrid handheld console. And one of the first things I just kind of want to point out and kind of throw out there, and if you think it's weird too, or maybe it's just kind of a me thing, their demographic for the Switch seems to be very different than the Wii.
The first thing you notice, sorry to interrupt, but the very first thing I noticed is I didn't see anybody under the age of 18 playing one of these things, which is a big deal for a Nintendo console.
Dude, I would even go to say I didn't see anybody under the age of 20 playing those things, man. Like, those were grown-ass adults, dude.
Those were Portland, Oregon hipsters and some sort of weird jockey hybrid playing the NBA game. Strange, but it was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I loved it because obviously I feel like they're finally making a console for me, which is awesome. I owned a Wii, I owned a Wii U. I never owned an NES or an SNES because I never was into games when those were out, but I've played games from both those eras. I love Nintendo, but I feel like they've never made a console for me. And for once, I feel like looking at this, and obviously we don't really know too many details other than leaks of the internal components, but I feel like they are making a console that is for gamers for once, for people who want to play Nintendo games and not feel like they bought something for kids.
Yeah, we can't speak to what it is exactly because this was a very, bare bones teaser trailer, but you can tell already that the sleek, more minimalist design is not, as Colin Moriarty usually says on Kind of Funny, it's not going to be the Fisher-Price Wii U gamepad, this plasticky, breakable piece of garbage, frankly. I own this thing. And by the way, I'm actually the one thing that I want to stress is that I'm a huge supporter of the Wii U in terms of what it is. It's never been a disappointing console for people that
knew what it was.
Yeah, I can only speak to myself and my personal circumstances because it was an absolute joy for me to be able to I'm a college student, right? I'm a junior. And for me to be able to play my games in my bed, just having the Wii U gamepad in front of me when the one TV that 4 different roommates shared was being used, it was my perfect system for the time. And the games on it aren't bad, frankly.
No, I love the Wii U games, the Nintendo exclusives. My problem with them is that they're stuck on the Wii U. I own a Wii U. I personally really enjoyed my Wii U. I bought it, I think, almost a year ago now, so I got it super late, but I don't feel hosed. I knew what I was getting into. But so I love the games.
But now it's we're at a exactly. And this doesn't feel like a console that anyone's going to feel trapped on. I mean, literally, it's portable. You can't be trapped.
And I feel and again, Colin and Greg kind of touched upon this morning on Colin and Greg Live over at Kind of Funny. Colin talks about how if you took the Nintendo branding off this console, it would not look like a Nintendo console, and that's a very good thing, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
I
totally think it would.
So, I think that the fact that it has a sleek design, the fact that it looks professional, it doesn't look like it's made for kids, that's going to help Nintendo in the long run. And if they hit a price point that is desirable consumer, which I'm assuming is probably going to be $299, that's what I would assume. If they can hit that price point or even go cheaper, I don't see why the Nintendo Switch would not be in every household.
Yeah. It seems like, judging by the trailer, which I hope everybody that's listening to this has seen by now. If not, go watch it.
Yeah, I'll throw the link in the description too. So.
Yeah. This is just kind of a far-fetched idea. I always put myself in the seat of if I was Reggie, what would I be doing with this company right now? And this might sound far-fetched, but they're trying to appeal to not only new gamers and young gamers, but they're trying to appeal to the people that have stuck around with Nintendo for a long time, have been in the throes of all these franchises and love this stuff. It would be an amazing thing if they were to say, because honestly, $300 seems a little pricey, and I'll go into that in a second. But
I agree. By the way, I was just kind of being realistic.
Yeah. You know, by itself in like a closed space, it wouldn't be that bad. But considering I have a PS4, I just got a PSVR unit. I don't want to drop $300. I don't even see myself necessarily buying this thing day one, even though I would love to. It's just too much.
I think that like that's important to talk about. Sorry to interrupt you really quick.
No, you're good.
I think that's important to touch upon is that while I said I believe it's going to be at $299, I think that would be very bad if Nintendo put it at $299 because they're coming into the game really late. They are. I think we're at like what, our 4th year with the consoles. Plus they've each gotten their own reiteration already, and then now they're deciding to make a console that's on par supposedly from the leaked internal specs with these two consoles. I think for them to be competitive, they need to come out. For me to get this day one, which obviously I'm sure they don't care about me too much, but for me to get this day one, it would have to be $199 or less, which is not realistic.
Yep, that's what I'd like. But that's what I was thinking, and I'll leave it here. It would be an amazing idea if they were to grab on to the core audience, the people like us. I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I've bought in the same virtual console games 2 or 3 times, and it's like it'd be amazing, and if they could make some sort of program like, okay, we know this is $300, but like day one, you're going to have $40 worth of credit to use on all virtual console titles. And then as you buy games, like each game that you buy on a cartridge, because, you know, people are like, or digital download, they give you a certain amount of credit to buy maybe the game that came before that. Like, or if you were to buy the Ice Climbers DLC, if they have one in the new Smash Bros. Game, they give you the old Ice Climbers game. And man,
that would be cool.
It would, like they have an unbelievably good collection of old games, and I feel like if they're going to appeal to people that have stuck with them since NES, SNES, N64 for the two of us, I would assume, that's what I want. I want to be able to play those old games that make me a Nintendo loyalist without having to spend hundreds of dollars again, and they need to stay on my account.
Yeah, so when you're mentioning that, it's like when you first said that, I was like, that would be awesome, but it's super unrealistic. But the more you started talking about it, I realized how easy it would be for Nintendo to do that, because it would literally cost them pretty much nothing. Like,
exactly. That's why it works.
I don't think anybody is like, basically when someone buys one of these virtual console games on the Wii U or whatever, you're basically paying Nintendo to use a ROM that you can download on your computer. I don't know if you guys know that out there, but I mean, there's been a bunch of studies that Nintendo unapologetically literally rips ROMs and sells them on the marketplace. And that's like, it's their games. They're totally allowed to do that. I totally understand it. I think it's ridiculous that they're still charging the amount they charge for those games. But that being said, if they had a program, like if I bought Zelda Breath of the Wild and then it came with like Zelda Link to the Past on the virtual console, that would be amazing. Because that would not only give me the opportunity to go back and play Link to the Past, but that would give a kid who's playing their first Zelda game on the Nintendo Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, you're good.
And to go back and get a chance to play like those games that are so pivotal to like what I believe, video games are. So like that would be awesome. I'm on board for that. That would be so cool.
The fact that they own everything and it wouldn't cost them anything is the only reason why I think that would be a great strategy. But who knows? Who knows what they're gonna do?
Yeah, and then with all Nintendo products, we got to talk about our concerns, because this is Nintendo. They are still, whether like this one trailer, 3-minute trailer, it's awesome, and I want to believe that Nintendo's done it and they've finally gotten out of the rut. But it is Nintendo. Yeah. There was one thing that I want to, or I guess a couple things I want to touch upon and get your opinion on. The first of those few things is the durability of it, and I feel like this is important because if for someone like, I probably won't be, but for someone who's buying this literally because they like the idea of being able to switch from a home console to a on-the-go console like all the time, like I really hope Nintendo rigorously tested those controllers to make sure that for the amount of times that you're switching them in and switching them out and switching them in, that like they're durable, because if they're made poorly or the ports aren't, the connectors aren't, like if they're cheap and they're trying to cut back, like that's going to be really detrimental for the console, because you're going to have people who use it a lot who breaking their consoles quicker.
Are you talking about on the Switch when you put the game in, or are you talking about the cartridge?
So I'm talking about the controllers on the side. So you know how you're constantly switching those from like the dock to like a controller to like the dock or whatever you're doing.
Yep.
I am afraid that those that are sliding in and out, like they're going to get worn down quickly because they're made out of plastic or whatever, and that I'm going to have to go out and buy those new controllers every couple months. And like, I'm genuinely worried that that's what they're going to do, because that is a Nintendo thing to do, unfortunately. But that being said, I am confident that they've gotten it right this time, and I'd just like to, see what you say about that as far as the durability goes.
A lot of people are not complaining, but wondering if those what do they call them? Like the side controller,
the Switch controllers or whatever.
Exactly, the Switch controllers. People think they're going to lose them.
God, those are they are really small.
They're really small. I don't really know exactly how I would approach that, especially if I were, the ones marketing this device. It seems like something that could be easily breakable, but I also think that Nintendo has at least there's technology out there to make sure that those don't wear down so fast. I know that do you have a Mac or PC? I'm curious.
I have a Mac for school. Okay. Really.
Yeah. So I have a PC. I have a Surface Pro, so I don't know if it's the same thing for you, but my, what do you call this? My charger for my computer is like magnetic, right? So it snaps right in.
Yeah, that's how it is for Mac.
Yeah, so I feel like they might be able to utilize some sort of tech there where this thing has never worn down on me, and that magnetism doesn't wear off for a long time. So I understand that.
Think about that. I guess it could be a magnet system.
It could be. I really, we're totally in the dark here. I wish I had one in my hands right now to figure this
I can't wait. Like when these are in the wild and we get to see them, that's what I'm most excited about.
Yeah. So I feel like a magnet type system might be in the works, and that'll definitely reduce the problems, even though you might, you're still going to have problems with friction and like sliding them up and down. So there's going to be issues. And this is the first of its kind too. So.
And I mean, obviously that's also on the user. I would like to point out that it's not all on Nintendo to make sure that they create a non-breakable product. Like obviously when you're not supposed to violently switch them out and in, obviously. So, Yeah. So, so the next thing I want to talk about, which is, I guess, definitely probably the biggest problem, which I don't think any of us are going to like. I think it's definitely an issue we're going to have to accept now, is the battery life on this thing.
Yeah.
There's no way that away from the dock that this lasts longer than 4 hours. I can't imagine, which sucks, because people are going to like the biggest idea for me right now is like if I'm on like a flight, or if I'm on a long car drive, because I go to Humboldt State. I live in the middle of nowhere. I live 13 hours from home. So like if I'm going home, I can't take a plane. I have to drive. So that's a 13-hour drive. So like I'm thinking to myself, like, man, this would be cool if I have this on like those drives when I'm not the one driving, because I can just sit in my passenger seat and literally play Mario Kart.
Yeah.
Until the battery dies in 2 hours or whatever it is. So like, that's definitely a problem. But I don't know if there's really a way that they can fix that. If that's something we're just gonna have to accept, or maybe they're gonna blow us away and be like, hey, we got new battery technology, and your battery's gonna last a long time. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not one to speak on battery life. I don't know too much about it, but if it was 4 hours, I would be content. If it was anything less than that, it would be a problem.
That's kind of where I'm at right now too.
Exactly. 3.5 to 4 hours at a minimum. I want to be able to play this thing. It would just be ridiculous if it were to die on me halfway through a flight home, because I live in Washington and my real home's in California. That's a 6-hour flight. That would just suck to have to bring this thing. It's always a pain bringing electronics on an airplane, and then
I
13-hour drive. Ugh.
I actually was on a plane one time, and I kid you not, I saw a dude bring out a Wii U, plug it in, and then just use the tablet. And I'm like, that's got to be the most, like, the NX has got to solve that. And,
that's awesome.
So,
it might be really good. But the battery life's going to be an issue. I actually see most people playing this thing at their home, and not even necessarily plugging it into a TV and streaming it, but just playing on their couch, because that's the way I play 90% of the time when I'm like Vita or DS. I'm at my house, just on the couch.
That's one of my favorite things about like having because I have a Vita, and so that's one of my favorite things about like having remote play, because I live in a house with 2 other guys, and like thankfully my 2 other people I live with are like my best friends, so like we don't have too many problems with the TV. But like when there is, it's like if there's a football game on, or if there's something like that someone wants to do, like obviously I'm more than happy to just like let them do it. But it's super cool that I'm able to use my Vita, or and now my PlayStation VR headset, and like they don't have to worry about it. So like that's one of the most appealing things for me from the Switch, is that I probably half the time that I'm ever taken it out of the dock, I'm probably still going to be in my house. Like, so I guess battery life in that sense isn't that big of a deal. It's just going to be inconveniences for people who are actually like strictly buying this for the portability of it.
Yep. And there's going to be plenty of people like that. So they need to satisfy both groups.
They definitely, one thing that Nintendo needs to avoid that got Sony, and they got sued for it, is the fact that they need to make sure that they push through the mind of the consumer, and they're very clear in their advertising that this is a home console with the ability to be portable occasionally. Because if they advertise it as a home console that's also portable, you can take it wherever you go, and then people are buying it for that, and their battery lasts like 2 hours, that puts them in deep, deep trouble.
Yeah, I totally agree with it.
Marketing has to be on key, I think.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question, if it's all right.
Of course.
Is backwards compatibility with Wii U games going to be a big deal for you?
No.
And do you?
Sorry, go ahead. Finish your question.
No. Does it matter for you?
So personally, no, because all the Wii U games that I really, really love and really would want to be backwards compatible, I am 99% sure that they are going to make for the NX. Like, I mean, we saw 3 of them in the trailer. I mean, we saw Mario Kart, we saw Splatoon, and then, I mean, Zelda, I guess, was never on the Wii U, but it's going to be. But so like those 3 games right there are probably the top 3 games that I'd really want, and I'm sure that they're going to bring Smash. Like, they'd be dumb not to. I'm sure that they're going to bring we saw a new Mario game. So like the problem, like not the problem, the good thing about Nintendo games is that they're all a little the same but different. So like they all have their own like special like things that I love about them. So like a Mario game is a Mario game to me. Obviously they have different merits and they have different things, but like I am more excited of playing a new Mario game on my new console than playing an old Mario game on my new console. So I guess backwards compatible. The one thing that I hope it's backwards compatible with, or that would be interesting, if it's backwards compatible with 3DS games. Or compatible, I guess, not backwards compatible, because I could definitely see them doing something where it's out of the dock, and the NX you have in your hand is the touch screen, and your TV is the top screen, and like that would be rad.
That would be really cool. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I thought about it this morning randomly when I saw the trailer. So like, and since they're both using carts, and like the carts do look a little different, but how hard would it be to like create like a card adapter for it? Because they seem similar. So like, is it possible? I mean, is it going to happen? Probably not. Would I like it to happen? Yes.
Okay. So. Yeah, for me, it's not the biggest deal, though. I'm a huge it is an absolute selling point when somebody says, you know, when you buy this new console, you can play last gen's games and even the gen before that's games. It was such a big selling point to me that like when the PS3 came out, the original fat $600 PS3, which is a joke. But when that came out and they said it was going to be backwards compatible with PS2 and PS1 games, that totally made me feel like I'm getting so much value out of this thing. I don't have that much space in my house, and I have the ability to go back 10 years or more and have like so much opportunity to play so many different games that are really, really good. I would love to see the same thing on the NX, or the Switch. It's just it doesn't make a whole lot of sense how, first off, there's likely not gonna be a CD drive. And
yeah, if they do backwards compatible, it definitely would have to be all digital. which means you would have games again.
That would be such a mess. That would be such a mess. So they're probably going to ditch it and start fresh. But
yeah, so
I wish they wouldn't.
Sorry.
No, yeah, you're good.
My bad. I think backwards compatibility, if it's going to be in the NX, has to be there at launch, or it just shouldn't be there at all.
Yep, I'm with you.
Because I think backwards compatibility is the most important at a new console's launch, because that gives the opportunity for someone to be like, there's not a lot of games that I want right now for this console, but it can still play my old game, so I might as well get one. Mm-hmm. And so like I think that's an important thing that I just want to throw in there, that if they're not going to have it at day one, I think they shouldn't bother with it. But if it's going to be there at day one, if it's going to be there and it's day one, then I think it's a good thing. So, man, it's good.
Gotcha. Yep, I'm totally right there with you.
Fucking open these curtains up, dude. Yeah, so I think I have one more bullet point on mine. Yeah, so the last thing that I personally want to touch upon, and of course, if you have anything else you want to talk about it, I got all the time in the world. But the last thing I want to talk about is the third-party support for this console. Okay. We saw right away, I don't know if you saw that image, that was either on the website or someone just compiled it. It was I think it's over 50 third-party studios have already partnered with Nintendo to start making games for the Switch or the NX. And so, and I think that's important because obviously one of the big things with the Wii U, obviously I don't care about it because I own multiple consoles, but the big thing on the Wii U for a lot of people was that it had no third-party support, and that's why people wouldn't buy it. And so I think it's important to note that two things, that one, this has third-party support, and that's a really good thing. But two, if it has third-party support and people don't buy the third-party games, then it's just going to lose third-party support again. So I think to look at that, it's really a double-sided sword for me because I want to be excited about it, but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, how many third-party games do I really want to play on my NX?
Yep.
Like,
I'm with you.
Because I feel like a majority of the people who buy this NX will probably own another console. Very rarely will someone buy the NX and only own the NX at this point. And I think it's definitely getting to the point where like third-party support might be there if we support it. It's just, man, I have very mixed feelings about this because I know personally, like, I think it's a cool thing that the Switch has third-party support, but if it doesn't go far, I'm definitely probably going to be one of the problems because I don't know what third-party games I would want to play on my Switch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's always the thing with Nintendo consoles because they're notoriously downgraded, intentionally, so that they can cut costs and they can also, as they say, like make the games more creative, like working with limitations. They've never been the innovators of tech. They haven't been the innovators of tech since the GameCube. So it's not, it certainly isn't starting now. Even though we saw Skyrim and NBA. It's not looking like it's going to be what you want to be buying a $60 game on.
Funny thing about that, by the way, side note, I saw a Polygon article today that neither Skyrim nor NBA 2K17 are announced for the Switch. So yeah. They're in the video, they're part of the trailer, and Polygon reached out to both Bethesda and 2K saying like, hey, are these coming to NX? And both studios responded with, we were happy to work with Nintendo on the trailer and partner with the Switch, but we have nothing to announce at this time. And that makes me think that like either A, they're the worst secret keepers ever, or B, that they literally made a trailer featuring games that aren't going to be on the console, which is super weird.
My guess is both those games will be announced and come out, assuming that they can run. I think Nintendo has actually forged these partnerships, and they're looking for third-party support. So I'm not too concerned. I think it's just a matter of timing, and they knew that they needed to showcase, hey, this is for more than just Nintendo games.
Yeah.
But getting back to that point, I don't want personally. I don't want to play third-party games in this thing. I want Pikmin 4. I want Metroid. I want whatever that new Mario game is that they showcased. All the third-party things are auxiliary to me, unless for some reason they give us a reason let me rephrase. They give us a reason to actually want to play it on that console.
Yeah.
And usually graphics and controllers are the reasons for me that I want to be playing on my PS4 instead of a Wii U or a Nintendo console.
All I'm saying, Nintendo, is that if you do not throw in that little controller dock with the console bundle that we see in the trailer, and that we either have to play with this, like with the screen on the controllers, or play with the little controllers, I'm gonna lose my mind. Like if I have to buy that little controller attachment thing to hold a normal controller and play NX games, I will lose my mind. That's ridiculous. Like that is such an oversight to throw in these small controllers that like are made to like be on the side of the thing when you're using it on the go, and making those the only available option if you just buy those. Like that would be insane.
We can only hope.
Oh man,
we can only hope. I think they're heading in the right direction.
I do too.
Nobody, as far as I've seen, has been really upset with this, and I'm certainly of the same mind. So let's hope there's SD support, because I'm hearing that it's only 32 gigs of HDD space, which would be devastating. Let's hope that the cartridges are not as bad as they could be, because nobody's making cartridges anymore.
Dude, imagine I'm worried about how expensive the games are going to be. Because like the cartridges, half the reason we moved away from cartridges in the first place is because they're so expensive, and you can get away with it when they're on their 3DS games or DS games, because those are smaller budget games. Like the idea, oh shit, here's my mic. The idea of a company putting all of this money into making a AAA game for this console as a third-party company, and then having to spend even more extra money to create special cartridges for it. I mean, I hope that these partnerships for Nintendo's sake have something where Nintendo makes the cartridges in their contract. Because, oh man, I can just see all kinds of bad things happening with that.
I don't know. And you'll have to correct me, or I'll have to fact check myself at some point, but I'm pretty sure that the Nintendo 3DS cartridges that they make now only come in either 16 or 32 gigabyte versions. I want to say it's 16. So if you're trying to get a game like NBA 2K17 onto a cartridge, it's going to need to be like a 64 gigabyte cartridge. It's going to be bigger. It's going to be more expensive, and it probably makes more sense to go CD drive, but they can't with a console like this. So we just got to hope that it's not an $80 price tag, because that's going to be a big barrier in and of itself.
Man. And like you just mentioned right there, made me even think even further, like, oh man, I lost my train of thought. But
you're good.
Like if they, for the cartridges that they showed in that trailer, I mean, I don't assume that Nintendo would show us something that isn't like ready, because like they've been holding this for so long. But like, what if those aren't even the cartridges that they're gonna be with? Because you mentioning a 64 gigabyte cartridge, like I imagine how big that's gonna be compared to like a 32 cartridge.
It would be. I mean, like they've gotten this stuff pretty small. It's not like an N64. But,
of course.
Yeah, but it's gonna be like a big SD card, or maybe about the size of an SD card.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's significant.
In
terms of just the parts.
Yeah, the definitely, I think NX, the way to go will probably be digital, is my guess.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, so are you happy overall?
I'm pretty happy from what I saw. So like with what little we saw mixed with all the leaks, because like after we saw this, I'm pretty sure a majority of the leaks we've gotten are pretty true. So, because like I don't know if you saw that drawing from the dude that like drew the NX console, and like he got it pretty accurate, like with the box and like the little detachable controllers and whatnot. So now that that's been pretty much confirmed that leak is true, I feel like a lot of the other leaks we're getting are true, which makes me super excited for this console, because it's got power, it's got portability, and it's got Nintendo games.
Yeah. Oh, I feel the same way. It's gonna be certainly interesting, if nothing else. And I think that they're starting at a really great place. I have no real qualms about it.
Yeah, I mean, if there was any perfect way to announce a new console, Nintendo did it today.
Yeah.
I'm
Totally
happy
with
that
you.
Nintendo last night was just like, hey, guess what? We're revealing our new console tomorrow. And they were like, hey, guess what? Here's a trailer for it. They didn't hold some stupid press conference that was an hour long that people didn't care about just to see a console. Like, Nintendo dropped it. They made people care about it. It trended on Twitter. And they're like, that's pretty much all you're going to hear for a while, which is, that's all we needed, you know?
Yep. It's awesome.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps this up. Thank you, Jordan, so much for taking your time to be with me today. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, guys, just go ahead and click the like button. If you're not subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And Jordan, you got anything you want them to go check out?
Nope. I mean, we have our website, which I'm sure you've talked about at least once.
Yeah.
So come check our us. I'm so bad at plugs, and it's never gotten better.
I get progressively better at plugs since I started doing them.
That's awesome, but I don't. So come back to binderbits.com for game reviews, news, updates, editorials, think pieces. If you want to talk and hear about games, we want to talk about and express those opinions. So, Rich, you write for the site, and I'm so glad to have you. And thanks for having me on the podcast.
Oh, dude, thanks for being a part of my life. Thanks for being a good friend and even better, mentor, and giving me the opportunity to do all this stuff. I really appreciate it. And I stand by the fact that I wouldn't have all these opportunities. I wouldn't be doing these things and pushing myself if you didn't give me the opportunity on Binder Bits. So I really am appreciative of that, and I can never repay you for what you've done for me. So I appreciate that.
You're awesome. All I did was start a website. It was your passion that brought you where you are. But thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Jordan, you have a great rest of your night, I guess, because it's almost 10 o'clock. Oh, geez, it's 9 o'clock where you're at, dude. So you have a great night, and thank you again for joining me today.
Yeah. See ya.